Welcome to Debate Combat, where tonight's motion tackles whether NGOs should roll out AI supervised mobile clinics in rural America within the next few months. The backdrop is stark, with shrinking maternity and primary care access, long drives for routine checkups, and rising wait times that strain families and first responders. The plan on the table includes contraception, prenatal care, basic screenings, and telehealth-supported counseling that follows the law and clinical guidelines. Our affirmative says the pilot is necessary now because doctor shortages and distance are already denying care. Our negative says pressing go in months is reckless because safety, privacy, and uneven laws could hurt the very people we aim to help. Keep it sharp, keep it civil, and remember, one clear claim beats 10 fuzzy ones. Affirmative team, the floor is yours for the case in chief.
We affirm because access delayed is care denied, and mobile clinics with AI triage can shrink delays from hours to minutes. In counties where the nearest obstetric unit is gone, a staffed van with remote specialists is not a luxury, it is lifeline infrastructure. AI is not a robo-doctor, it is a safety net that flags red signs, prioritizes urgent cases, and routes people to the right human fast. Pilots limit risk while proving value, letting communities test routes, staffing, and quality metrics before scaling. Think of it like a fire brigade for health, arriving quickly, stabilizing early, and transporting only when necessary. We can stand up a lawful, consent-based service in months, with clear guardrails, audit logs, and community oversight. Doing nothing is also a choice, and that choice leaves mothers, teens, and elders stranded on the wrong side of distance. Judge this plan by outcomes: fewer emergency deliveries in cars, more early checkups, and faster cancer referrals.
Recent reports show many rural hospitals have closed maternity services, and closures hit low-income families first. Mobile units have already improved vaccination and diabetes control in hard-to-reach areas, and the same model fits women's health. AI decision support can standardize checklists, reduce missed symptoms, and alert clinicians when patterns look dangerous. Telehealth expands the bench, letting city-based experts back up local nurses in real time. We can encrypt records end-to-end, store only what is needed, and let patients opt out of sensitive data sharing. Where state rules differ, the service can adjust menus of care, always following local law while still providing essential support. The United Kingdom is investing in safe AI for capacity gaps, and we should not ask rural Americans to wait for perfect while services vanish. Let us test, measure, and improve, because a pilot with safeguards beats a crisis without a plan.
Thank you, and now we turn to the negative for their case in chief.
We oppose because haste can harm, and building a clinical system in months risks swapping one access gap for new safety failures. Mobile care is not an app launch. It is medicine on wheels, and every missed allergy, faulty sensor, or weak signal is a patient at risk. AI triage can be wrong in rare but deadly ways, and bias can hide in datasets that do not reflect rural populations. Patchwork laws around sensitive services can turn a clinic route into a legal minefield that staff cannot navigate on the fly. If a van collects location and reproductive data, who holds it, who audits it, and how do we protect it when a subpoena lands? Pilots drift, scope creeps, and what begins as screening can morph into controversial care without a public vote. Before wheels hit gravel, we need independent trials, state compacts, and clear liability rules that do not leave nurses carrying the risk. Prudence is not delay for delay's sake, it is the discipline that keeps trust intact when stakes are life and death.
People remember breaches more than benefits, and one data leak in a small town can mark families for years. Imagine a teenager who wanted confidential advice and finds her visit posted in a group chat because one device policy slipped. Trust is earned face-to-face by stable clinics with known staff, not by vans that come and go under a corporate or donor logo. Rural communities have their own values and rhythms, and parachuting in a high-tech fix can feel like outsiders prescribing virtue. If the funding dries up after the pilot, the exit hurts most when people begin to rely on a service that suddenly disappears. There are safer starts, like training local midwives, reopening basic services, and funding transportation vouchers today. A rushed pilot could make headlines, but a careful build makes hospitals, and hospitals make towns stay alive. Saying no to speed is saying yes to trust, because trust is the only platform that can carry care across years.
Affirmative. You have the mic to press your advantage with a focused attack.
The negative leans on fear of speed, yet every month lost means more late prenatal visits, more preventable emergencies, and more grief on empty roads.
Negative. Please respond with a measured defense to that challenge.
We defend by insisting on patient safety first, because algorithms and vans without validated rural protocols can magnify small errors into lethal ones.
Negative. Stay with me and advance a single sharp attack.
Your plan hides a geographic lottery, since clinics will follow donor-friendly routes, while the poorest hollows remain invisible under a gloss of pilot metrics.
Affirmative. Answer that point with a crisp defense.
Route bias is solved by community boards that set stops, publish maps, and require service to the hardest to reach hamlets before any expansion.
Negative. Prepare a combined assault with 2 speakers and keep it tight.
First, the consent screens and risk disclosures you promised are unread walls of text for people with spotty internet and low health literacy.
Second, when a red flag fires and a helicopter is hours away, an app cannot ventilate a mother, so build stable wards before shiny dashboards.
Thank you. Let us cool the temperature. And I now pass the floor to the affirmative for a paired attack.
Leadership matters, and our model trains local nurses as clinical leads, while AI only ranks risk, preventing decision fatigue on long shifts.
Support matters, and our logistics layer reserves transport, syncs pharmacies, and triggers neighbor volunteers, so the night does not swallow a crisis.
Affirmative. Hold there. And negative. Please take the floor for a 2-person defense with 1 answer and 1 probing question.
Answer here, because training is not a toggle, and short courses cannot replace years of obstetric triage in a place where backup is a county away.
Question for you. If your audit logs reveal a dangerous anomaly rate in triage, will you pause routes mid-winter? Or will you roll the dice because cameras are on?
Back to the affirmative for a 2-person defense with 1 response and 1 targeted weakness call-out.
We respond that anomaly thresholds will auto-pause modules, while human teams continue core care, which makes safety a circuit breaker rather than a press release.
Your weakness is a nostalgia bias that romanticizes shuttered wards, because no amount of memory can staff beds that no longer exist or pay bills that never balanced.
Judges, please share mid-round impressions, declaring the team you presently lean toward. 1 strength you see in them, 1 weakness you see in the other side, and a word of encouragement to both.
I currently lean affirmative because the logistics and community governance details feel alive, while the negative still paints with caution in broad strokes, yet can sharpen alternatives, and both teams should keep translating complexity into plain steps people can picture.
I am slightly with the negative for now, because trust and continuity ring true, while the affirmative risks sounding like a tech vendor pitch at moments, and both teams should anchor every claim to the lived day of a rural nurse and the long night of a worried mother.
I lean neither way yet and demand clearer cost models, because the affirmative has not priced downtime and the negative has not priced delay, and both teams should tighten numbers and stop hiding trade-offs behind noble adjectives.
We move to round 2 with fresh angles and stricter time, and I pass first to the negative for a pointed attack.
Your plan risks legal whiplash because crossing a state line can flip what is offered, and confusion at the doorstep is how trust breaks and rumors bloom.
Affirmative. Your defense in 1 clear line, please.
We defend with geofenced menus and plain language scripts that change with the jurisdiction, so the offer is lawful, transparent, and never a bait and switch.
Affirmative. You may press an attack with 1 speaker.
The negative keeps telling us to wait for perfect hospitals, yet towns cannot hold their breath for a decade, so the moral math favors pilots that save time now.
Negative. Answer with a single defensive stroke.
Delay is not a vacuum because we can fund midwife networks, transportation vouchers, and home monitoring kits this quarter without experimental triage models.
Affirmative. Deliver a 2-voice attack, 1 lead and 1 support, focused on outcomes.
Lead here with numbers. because mobile hypertension checks plus teleconsults cuts stroke admissions in prior rural trials, and the same rigor can track maternal outcomes.
Support with equity, because vouchers help those with cars, while vans help those without, and justice should not depend on whether a cousin can take a day off to drive.
Time, and now the negative may advance a two-voice attack, one leader and one supporter, grounded in feasibility.
Leader strikes on reliability, because winter storms, dead zones, and generator failures compound each other, and a brittle chain will snap at the weakest link.
Support strikes on staffing, because burnout is already high, and moving targets across counties means families never form bonds with a steady nurse and receptionist.
Negative, pause there, and affirmative, you may deliver a two-voice defense with one answer and one counter-question.
Answer, with continuity teams that rotate predictably and publish schedules weeks ahead, so households learn faces and trust the calendar.
Counter-question to the negative, if fuel, vouchers, and midwives alone were enough, why did preventable complications still rise after the last ward closed?
We return to the negative for a two-voice defense, with one answer and one targeted weakness highlight.
Answer that vouchers must be paired with guaranteed appointment blocks at regional centers, which prevents endless rescheduling and lost wages.
Highlight that your plan underprices cybersecurity, because rural clinics get hit too, and ransomware on a van that carries sensitive notes would be a civic nightmare.
Affirmative. The mic returns to you for a quick pass and strike.
We will harden every record with end-to-end encryption, isolate devices from personal phones, and publish breach drills, because privacy is a design choice, not a wish.
Negative. Your brief defense is now due.
Encryption without local digital literacy is a paper shield, so bake training and offline consent tools into the budget before the first route begins.
Affirmative. Escalate with a crisp attack from a single voice.
We can and will budget that training, and the cost is small compared to the cost of late sepsis or a highway delivery that ends in mourning.
Negative. Respond with a single defensive line.
Budgets promised on stage often wilt in winter, so show escrowed funds and sign partner MOUs before you promise the moon to families who have seen plans vanish.
Affirmative. Proceed with a duo attack focused on verifiable commitments.
We anchor credibility with conditional contracts that release funds only when uptime, response time, and clinical quality thresholds are met.
We anchor community voice with grievance hotlines and secret shopper visits run by local councils, because trust grows when feedback has teeth.
Negative. Mount a duo attack centered on unintended consequences.
If vans become the default, county leaders may quietly give up on permanent clinics, and that retreat is hard to reverse once habits calcify.
If AI flags are oversensitive, people will be sent on long, expensive transfers, and every false alarm burns scarce fuel, patience, and paychecks.
Affirmative. Offer a duo defense with one careful answer and one pointed challenge.
Answer that sunset clauses and matched county investments prevent dependency, because pilots expire unless bricks and mortar progress is visible.
Challenge the negative to name a timeline for reopening wards, since patience without a date is just drift with a friendly face.
Negative. Bring a duo defense with one factual reply and one weakness call-out.
Reply that regional compacts can pool staffing across counties within 18 months, and that timeline is realistic because it builds on existing credentialing.
Call out that your challenge dodges the workforce shortage by assuming remote experts will always be free, yet they too are finite and already overbooked.
Affirmative. Raise a single attack line that keeps the focus on patients.
Families do not live on compacts or memos, they live on Tuesday morning care, and mobile teams deliver that while the compacts crawl.
Negative. One defensive sentence to steady your case.
Steady means we refuse to trade one fragile promise for another, and we will not let urgency erase the standards that make medicine worthy of trust.
Affirmative. Your next single attack should be evidence-led and concrete.
Evidence from mobile screening programs shows improved early detection and adherence when services come to the church lot and the grain co-op, and that pattern will hold.
Negative. Answer that with one disciplined defense.
Detection without continuity can still fail at follow-up, So tie every screen to guaranteed slots and travel support at the referral center before celebrating.
Affirmative. Launch a pair attack that balances ethics and logistics.
Ethically, we owe proximity when distance kills, so bringing care closer is not a gimmick but a duty.
Logistically, we phase routes, simulate outages, and pre-book transport, which makes proximity durable rather than decorative.
Negative. Return fire with a pair attack that stresses culture and governance.
Culture matters, and rolling into a town without elders on the masthead invites quiet resistance that looks like missed appointments and closed doors.
Governance matters, and without a county-wide data custodian, the patchwork of logs will not stand up to audits or subpoenas.
Affirmative. Shift to a paired offense with one direct reply and one provocative question.
Reply that elders will chair the boards by design, and board minutes will be public and bilingual where needed to build durable legitimacy.
Question whether the negative will back that same model if the pilots prove safer and faster than the status quo, or if caution is the destination rather than the route.
Negative. Close this sequence with a paired defense that includes one answer and one precise weakness probe.
Answer that we will back what is proven by independent trials, not by internal dashboards, and that threshold protects everyone.
Probe the weakness that your independence is thin if the same funders pay clinicians, own the data pipes, and grade the report cards for success.
Before we close, I want to surface any missed angles and confirm if either side has final threads they want to pull. We will enter a rapid free debate with alternating turns, and keep your points sharp and your tone within the lines.
Distance kills quietly, so the moral flaw is to bring lawful care closer before another family pays with grief on a back road.
Speed kills loudly, so the ethical ceiling is to prevent untested systems from turning a hard winter into a cascade of avoidable errors.
Every safeguard we named has a trigger, a threshold, and a human override that stops modules before harm.
Every safeguard you named also has a failure mode, and brittle chains snap where the weather and bandwidth are cruel.
Communities will drive the routes, the menus, and the metrics, so this is with people, not at people.
Local control without enforceable liability is decoration, and when things break, the bill lands on the smallest clinic.
We priced training, uptime, and transport, and we tied money to outcomes that families can feel in shorter waits and safer referrals.
You priced optimism, not attrition, and winter will mark the gap between staged promises and real diesel tires and overtime.
Telehealth extends scarce experts without moving the mountain, and that is how you get Tuesday care while Thursday builds a ward.
Telehealth without consistent follow-up is a bridge to nowhere, and you cannot discharge responsibility to a calendar invite.
We will post schedules weeks ahead and keep faces steady, because continuity builds trust one hello at a time.
Continuity is not a flyer on a bulletin board, it is a door that opens in the same place with the same nurse when the fever spikes at dawn.
We accept phased menus by law, and we still deliver screenings, contraception counseling, and prenatal checks that save time and lives.
Phased menus become mixed messages, and mixed messages breed rumor, and rumor is how fragile pilots die on contact.
Rumor dies when data is public, minutes are public, and grievance hotlines have teeth that move budgets.
Data does not visit a funeral, and minutes do not hold a hand, so humility should slow your roll until trials are complete.
Trials feed into pilots, pilots feed into systems, and waiting for a perfect ladder while people drown is not humility but neglect.
Rushing a ladder with loose rungs is also neglect, and the fall is hardest in the towns that already lost the hospital.
We are not selling dashboards. We are buying time for nurses who already run on fumes.
Time bought with debt of trust comes due with interest, and the collectors are subpoenas, outages, and politics.
Then escrow funds now, sign MOUs now, and publish the pause rules now, which is exactly our plan.
Escrows and MOUs do not breathe for a newborn when a storm grounds the transport, and that is the risk we cannot spreadsheet away.
Risk never hits zero, so the ethical question is which plan lowers risk sooner and more fairly.
The ethical answer is the plan that strengthens permanent care, because dignity is a stable place, not a scheduled visit from a van.
Dignity is also being seen without begging a cousin for a day off, and mobile teams respect time as part of health.
Dignity is privacy that survives a breach, And the smaller the town, the longer the memory, so your encryption must become culture, not code.
We teach privacy like fire drills, and we audit like restaurant inspections, public, routine, and boring in the best way.
We need judges, not inspectors, because when ethics collide with budgets, the stamp you want is independent and final.
Invite the judges, fund the judges, and do the pilot under their eyes, because transparency is a feature, not a threat.
Judges add time that your timeline refuses, and every rushed week raises the odds of a headline that will poison the well for years.
Headlines already chart closures and preventable crises, so waiting is not neutral, it is a choice with casualties.
Casualties come also from unintended consequences, and policy built on urgency often turns brittle when the cameras leave.
The cameras can leave, and the routes will still run, because contracts and community boards outlast a news cycle.
Boards can be captured by donors, and contracts can be gamed by metrics, so show teeth that bite your own side when results slip.
The teeth are automatic clawbacks, public dashboards, and rotation rules that block cozy captures.
Clawbacks punish after harm, and the wiser path is to prevent the cliff by building capacity where people sleep and pay taxes.
Capacity and mobility are not rivals, they are teammates, and pilots weave them together faster than planning documents do.
Teammates do not starve each other, yet budget lines do. And every dollar to a van is a dollar not lighting the hallway of a clinic.
We require matched county investment, so dollars to the van also light the hallway by design.
Design is not delivery, and enforcement after the ribbon cutting is the pothole, where many well-meant projects break axles.
Then set the enforcement to automatic triggers, not discretionary memos, and let the public see when we miss.
Automatic triggers can still misfire in complex lives, and discretion is what seasoned clinicians learn the hard way over years.
Which is why humans keep the steering wheel, while AI reads the map and flags the cliffs.
Which is why a shaky map on a stormy night is worse than no map, because false confidence blinds the driver to black ice.
We built for black ice with offline protocols, paper backups, and go bags that assume radios fail and batteries lie.
Protocols in a binder still require hands that learned through repetition, and repetition takes time your clock keeps erasing.
Our clock is not erasing, it is reallocating, because training can run while vans roll, and both save more than either alone.
Your reallocation reads like overcommitment, and stretched teams snap when asked to train, travel, and deliver at once.
Staged rollouts and predictable rotations keep the stretch within healthy limits, and the early wins recruit new hands.
Early wins are fragile, and when the first breach hits, the narrative hardens, so prudence is not cowardice but stewardship.
We hold there, and I will now ask the affirmative for your final statements.
We catalogue the facts that matter, that distance raises risk, closures continue, shortages are real, and mobile care plus telehealth has improved outcomes in other services.
We address the judges with a promise to measure what families feel. Faster access, safer referrals, visible oversight, and a plan that treats privacy as a daily habit, not a slogan.
Negative. Your closing floor is open.
We catalog the facts that warn us that legal patchworks are volatile, rural infrastructure is thin, algorithmic error carries asymmetric harm, and permanent capacity is the only anchor that does not drift.
We address the judges with a pledge for rigor, independent trials before scale, binding liability, robust training pipelines, and a timeline that builds trust by design rather than speed by spectacle.
Judges, please offer your evaluations, your votes, and your reasons, while honoring both teams for the quality of the clash.
I vote for the affirmative because their plan-tied logistics, governance, and safety pauses into a coherent path from month 1 to year 3, and I encourage the negative to turn their caution into a concrete alternative calendar that communities can adopt tomorrow.
I vote for the affirmative by a narrow margin because their proximity ethic confronted the lived geography of care. And I urge the affirmative to keep dignity and privacy as loudly as access, while the negative should convert rich warnings into funded bridges rather than stop signs.
I vote for the affirmative because they priced triggers, clawbacks, and matched investments more clearly than the negative price delay, and I challenge both teams to publish cost tables that a county treasurer can read without a consultant.
By 2 to 1, tonight's winner is the affirmative team.
We are grateful for the tough questions and the trust, and we will earn it with transparent routes, steady faces, and a safety culture that never sleeps.
We accept this with humility, and we invite every community to chair the table, set the rules, and hold us to the numbers that matter.
We respect the verdict and will keep pressing for independent trials, strong liability, and permanent capacity that does not vanish when a grant ends.
We appreciate the debate and the passion, and we will keep turning warnings into workable plans that protect families when the weather and the news both turn.
Thank you to both teams for discipline under heat, and to our judges for candor and care. Thank you to every listener who stayed with us through the details and the sparks. Please like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments so we keep raising the level together. If you want to support Debate Combats, use the QR code on the screen or the donation link in the description to keep these conversations independent. You will also find links in the description to other shows in very different series, and we think you will enjoy the range. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and we will see you in the next debate.